Imagine your lover stops seeing you for a week, right? It will hurt. But when you see them again, it's almost like it's almost like you're seeing them with a fresh eye. Their presence will become poeticized simply because of absence.
1943, the Argentine military overthrew the government. A popular 48-year-old colonel, Juan Perón, was named Secretary of Labor and Social Affairs. Perón was a widower who had a fondness for young girls. At the time of his appointment, he was involved with a teenager, whom he introduced to one and all as his daughter. One evening, in January of 1944, John F. Kennedy presented himself as a figure of chivalry, noble, brave, charming. Pablo Picasso was not just a great painter with a thirst for young girls. He was the Minotaur of Greek legend, or the devilish trickster figure that is so seductive to women. These associations should not be made too early. They're only powerful once the target has begun to fall under your spell and is vulnerable to suggestion.
So it seems like this exaggerated godlike aura is best done towards the end of the seduction, because maybe that's when the imagination is even more active, and that imagination can take up the shape of bigger and more godlike type of imaginary figure. I guess in the beginning you could create the imagination. For example, in the beginning is like this big, but the more they like you and the more they know you, and when you pull space, now you have a bigger energy, and that bigger energy can create a more bigger and more vivid image of you that could also transcend humanity to the godlike aura. And people do think that with certain partners, they start to idealize them and think of that they're geniuses. I've had women call me that. I'm like legit, like, and then not even like as a compliment, but like as a romantic shit, like saying I love you. Like, I remember one girl, she was like, You're a genius. I was like, bitch, what? I just, no. But I didn't say no, but I was like, thank you. But I felt weird in that, right? What he is saying is don't object to those types of projections. By the way, check out my new channel, Professor Alex. It's a channel that I created where I talk about spirituality, self-help, and topics like the ones you see here. It's completely different from the men's channel. So click on that right now, and there you'll be able to get 3 or 4 videos per week that you will never find on this channel. Okay, subscribe right now or else I'm closing it. Let them think that, because it'll run wild in their minds.
A man who had just met Cleopatra would have found the Aphrodite association ludicrous. But a person who is falling in love will believe almost anything. The trick is to associate your image with something mythic through the clothes you wear, the things you say, the places you go. In Marcel Proust's novel Remembrance of Things Past, the character Swann finds himself gradually seduced by a woman who is not really his type. He is an aesthete and loves the finer things in life. She is of a lower class, less refined, even a little tasteless. What poeticizes her in his mind is a series of exuberant moments they share together, moments that from then on he associates with her. One of these is a concert in a salon that they attend, in which he is intoxicated by a little melody in a sonata. Whenever he thinks of her, he remembers this little phrase. Little gifts she has given him, objects she's touched or handled, begin to assume a life of their own. Any kind of heightened experience, artistic or spiritual, lingers in the mind much longer than normal experience.
So, meditating with the person, even going to a meditation retreat, honestly, doing any psychedelics with the person, going on roller coaster rides with the person, experiencing a near-death experience with the person, or even you being the source of a heartbreak in a physical way where they're with you and you're breaking their heart, is also a source of that, and that creates a poetization of you.
You must find a way to share such moments with your targets, a concert, a play, a spiritual encounter, whatever it takes, so that they associate something elevated with you.
I remember I had a girl who did Reiki with me. She did Reiki to me, and I was very skeptical about it. And I let her do it, and I'm not gonna lie. To this day, I've never felt so present in my life. Colors became so vibrant. And when she finished, when I looked at her, yes, to this day there's an image that I see of her, and I see her in a calm way, like just calm, the sun hitting her, and it was almost like a strong presence. I never thought about it, but it happened after that experience, right? It was so intense, and so it's very true. If it's funny, like I could do a 1 hour meditation, but if a girl, I remember the first time I did a 1 hour meditation, I felt like I was hovering on the clouds. And it's funny, if I actually have a girl do a 1 hour meditation with me, she might experience the same thing. It's going to be really difficult, right? Because she never done it. But when she's done, she's going to feel a deep experience, and she's going to remember that and then associate me with it, right? It's just an example of that, of how that works.
Shared moments of exuberance.
And that's why
elevated.
That's why spiritual teachers have so much power over their pupils, and that's why you have to be careful if you teach spirituality, because there's a lot of sexual energy that could infiltrate itself like a Trojan horse through those channels, and that could actually hurt the person that you're trying to help. And that's why that sexual energy is not allowed there, and that's why it's so seductive.
With you. Shared moments of exuberance have immense seductive pull. Also, any kind of object can be imbued with poetic resonance and sentimental associations,
like a ring,
as discussed in the last chapter.
Like a ring.
The gifts you give and other objects can become imbued with your presence. If they are associated with pleasant memories, the sight of them keeps you in mind and accelerates the poeticization process.
Like a good example is Polaroid camera, like Polaroid photos, and you give to people. That's an example. Or even the photos you take in a photo booth.
Although it is said that absence makes the heart grow fonder, an absence too early will prove deadly to the crystallization process. Like Eva Peron, you must surround your targets with focused attention, so that in those critical moments when they're alone, their mind is spinning with a kind of afterglow. Do everything you can to keep the target thinking about you. Letters, mementos,
text messages,
gifts, unexpected meetings, all these give you an omnipresence. Everything must remind them of you. Finally, if your targets should see you as elevated and poetic, there's much to be gained by making them feel elevated and poeticized in their turn. The French writer Chateaubriand would make a woman feel like a goddess. She had such a powerful effect on him. He would send her poems that she supposedly had inspired. To make Queen Victoria...
With me, it could be doing a drawing that she inspired, or even painting her. That is actually a real thing, where a lot of painters will tell you that a lot of the models end up falling in love with the painter because the painter paid so much attention to the drawing that it seduced them, right?
Feel as if she were both a seductive woman and a great leader, Benjamin Disraeli would compare her to mythological figures and great predecessors, such as Queen Elizabeth I. By idealizing your targets this way, you will make them idealize you in return, since you must be equally great to be able to appreciate and see all of their fine qualities.
Oh my God, this actually happened to me a few times where women did that. Oh.
They will also grow addicted to the elevated feeling you give them. Reversal. It might seem that the reverse tactic would be to reveal everything about yourself, to be completely honest about your faults and virtues. This kind of sincerity was a quality Lord Byron had. He almost got a thrill out of disclosing all of his nasty, ugly qualities, even going so far later on in his life as to tell people about his incestuous involvements with his half-sister.
Holy shit.
This kind of dangerous intimacy can be immensely seductive. The target will poeticize your vices and your honesty about them. They will start to see more than is there.
I'm not gonna lie, this is actually very true. This is actually very true, man. I've experiences with in my life. I can't say exactly what they are, but I've definitely. This is actually very true. Look, man. We all have traits that if people know, they may find it unattractive, right? I have those traits too. But what I've noticed in my life is that with my romantic partners, there's almost like it doesn't hurt. It'll hurt if I meet a girl as a friend, and I do notice they tend to judge you more. Romantic partners, it's fucking weird. They don't tend to judge you as harshly, which is kind of interesting.
In other words, the idealization process is unavoidable. The only thing that cannot be idealized is mediocrity. But there is nothing seductive about mediocrity. There is no possible way to seduce without creating some kind of fantasy and poeticization.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you do it, man.
Chapter 13.
All right, people. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I try to do a different style in this one. I let the audio talk a little bit more and talked a tiny bit less. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just trying to adjust it. And I also included the stories of you know, the historical examples that he includes. I also included that. So let me know what you guys think, or maybe if you guys want me to exclude that, because maybe you guys want to hear me more than Robert Greene, to be honest with you. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. And if you're not part of the Patreon, become part of the Patreon. For $5 a month, you get access to all of my Patreon, all of my book club videos, and other videos that I post exclusively. And you also get access to the Robert Greene book clubs videos as I continue posting. I post around 2 chapters per month. So yeah, take care. See you. Click on the description down below to get it.